Hey everyone, hi, how are you? My name is Cheryl Horvath. I'm a independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Woodinville, Washington. And you have found me on my YouTube channel in a weekly tips and tricks video series that I do. Each week I try to share something helpful with you as a card crafter or paper crafter in general, or just a hobbyist in general. I just try to share some things that I think you might find useful. And today I thought we would talk about postage. Since we're coming up on the holiday season, there's going to be a lot of packages, there's going to be a lot of letters going out, Christmas cards, greeting cards, things like that. And last week I got myself kind of all confused about a package that I was mailing, not a package, but a very thick letter that had lots of things in it. I was looking for an economical way to send samples to my customers, and I thought about doing that inside of a letter, but the letter actually became quite thick, and so that spurred me to look into, well, how thick can it be, and, you know, machinable, non-machinable. There's all kinds of questions that one can have when they're talking about mailing something. And of course, we spend so much time and hard work on our letters and greeting cards that we don't want them getting returned, or, you know, God forbid somebody would have to pay the postage for you because you didn't put enough stamps on it, things like that. So I have kind of boiled this all down into kind of 4 simple questions that you should ask yourself whenever there's a question about whether or not one stamp is going to cut it for your greeting card or your letter. And so there's machinable letters, which require just regular postage stamp. That's first class mail. And then there are non-machinable items. And so we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to try to break it down for you in the easiest way. So I'm going to move you to my desk view, and I'm going to show you this little template I came up with. I created this just in Word, but basically the smallest piece of mail you can send with a stamp with first class postage is this right here. So that's called an A1 size card, and that is the small size. If you purchased this card pack, the Craft Note Cards and Envelopes card pack, that is an A1 sized card. That's what you get when you create cards with that. Just to show you, this is what the box looks like when you make the box. But so the cards are smaller in comparison to a regular A2. So this is A2, this is A1. Yeah. So A2, A1, so you can see the difference. It's quite a bit smaller. These are completely mailable. There's no issue. You put one stamp on it, as long as it's not too thick, and you've got yourself something that you can very easily mail. So that's A1. The probably the most popular size is the A2. And that also just, all of these, so when you're looking at size, the smallest you can go is here, minimum 3.625 by 5.125, and the max is 6 1/8 by 11 1/2. So this is kind of my cheat sheet that I made, and I don't really need it because I don't ever mail anything bigger than a A7 in terms of a greeting card. When we start talking about mailing catalogs out and things like that, that's different, and we'll talk about that in a second too. But so just as a rule of thumb, the smallest card is an A1, and then you can go all the way up to 6 by 11 1/2. So the first question you want to ask yourself when you're getting ready to put a stamp on something to mail it is, number 1, is the card envelope square? So if it's the length is the same as the width, the length and the height are the same, so 5 by 5 or 6 by 6, it immediately becomes non-machinable and requires an extra non-machinable surcharge postage. So I don't know why, but if it's square, it's automatically non-machinable. And I made the mistake one year. I was doing some save the date invitations for a friend, and she wanted something a little different, and so I created this square envelope, and I did this with my Cricut, and this was all hand colored too, by the way. I did many of these. I did like 100 of them. But anyway, this was a square envelope, and little did I know when I proposed this design, and of course she immediately fell in love with it, it became non-machinable because it was square. So just keep in mind, I love square cards. I think they're kind of fun, but they do require extra postage. So there's that. So that's the first question. Ask yourself, is it square? If it's not square, the next question is, well, what size is it? So does it fall within this range of sizes? If it falls a little bit outside, that doesn't mean it's not mailable. It just means it's not standard postage. So if it falls within this bucket, it's standard postage. The next question you want to ask yourself is, how thick is it? So anything over 1/4 inch on a letter, if it's 1/4 inch, greater than 1/4 inch, it becomes a package. So I created, just, you can go on to Etsy and get these too that are much more fancy. But this is just my little cheat template for determining if my letter is thicker than 1/4 inch. The way I made this was I just doubled up the basic white thick, so it's 2-ply. And then I used my X-Acto knife and I just cut a 4-inch hole in it. So I have a Christmas card here that I made that I was questioning on whether or not it was going to be too thick. And so there's a little bit of a gray area, because depending on how hard you compress your envelope, obviously if you squish it, it slides much easier than if you just don't squish it. But just for purposes of this example, this is a card that's pretty bulky. It's got dimensionals, it's got a bow, it's 2-ply on the card, plus this flap. So there's 3 layers to it, plus a kind of a bulky bow and a pop-up on it. So I popped this in this envelope and I went, oh, that's pretty thick. Is it 1/4 inch? So I just slid it right here through, and it goes through just fine. So I'm going to assume that this is completely mailable with just a standard postage stamp. But we have one more question to ask ourselves first, which is about weight. But before I move on to that, so the third question is it too thick? So if it's over, if you can't get it through a 1/4 inch slot like this, it's too thick, and it's going to have to follow package rates for large envelopes. Okay. So that's that. So this one qualifies as a regular stamp. So the last question you have to ask yourself is it too heavy? How much does it weigh? So according to the U.S. Post Office, a letter, first class letter, cannot weigh more than 3.5 ounces. Okay, so a letter like this one I just showed you is less than 1 ounce. I have a scale here, and you're not going to be able to read the so this is kind of a fancier scale. This is a certified postage type scale. For years I went off of just a regular kitchen scale. I brought one to show you. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. So I used to always just use my kitchen scale, and this works just fine too. Let me show you. So this one, we'll just turn it on, and on my kitchen scale, I don't know, can you guys read that? It says 7/8. 7/8. But now I'm tilting it, it's changing. But basically it's just shy of 1 ounce, right? So that's my kitchen scale. Now if I put it onto my postage scale, it's 0.8. So this is a little bit more accurate, because 7/8 is closer to 1 ounce than 0.8 is. So my point is you have to determine how heavy your package is if it's over 3 ounces. So if you took 3 of these together, that would weigh about 3 ounces. To give you another idea, let's see. This clear block the D size block, that weighs 3.8 ounces. So if you were trying to mail that, you'd have to put it in package. Okay, so we talked about if it's square, it's automatically non-machinable. Then we want to have it fall within this size template. If it's not more than 1/4 inch thick and it's not more than 3.5 ounces, you can use regular first class postage stamps on your letters. Where you start to get expensive, so this would just take one forever stamp, 60 cents is all this letter would take, even though it's 0.8 ounces, so it's under an ounce, it's under 1/4 inch thick, and it falls within the sizing guidelines. One stamp will do you, okay? The part where it gets confusing is when you have this size, it's automatically non-machinable, which means you have to put a surcharge. It qualifies for a surcharge. You can buy stamps that have the base 60-cent cost plus the surcharge, which now, by the way, is 30 cents. I was doing some research earlier, and there were a few years back, it was only 17 cents, and then it went to 20, and then I don't know what happened, but it very quickly went to 30 cents. So to send a non-machinable card that doesn't weigh more than an ounce is going to cost you 99 cents. And that's what these stamps look like right here. So these are, some people call them the butterfly stamp. So these are, it says right on the top, non-machinable surcharge. I don't know if it's going to focus for you. And I did pay 99 cents per stamp for a sheet of these. And so that's what we had to use when we mailed these cards, the square ones. So let's talk about if your piece of mail is more than an ounce, and let's shove some stuff in here so I can use it as an example. Let me just put a bunch of scrap paper in here so that make it heavier. And I'm going to put it on the scale, and I'm going to show you guys how to figure out how much you owe. So this is 1 1/4 ounce, okay? So you're going to need more than one stamp. Now, it's not considered non-machinable, it's just over an ounce. And so when you buy a postage stamp, it really is only good for mailing 1 ounce. Since this is 1 1/4 ounces, you're going to want to put the forever stamp, and you're also going to want to put an additional ounce stamp, which is 24 cents. So a lot of people don't take the time to buy specific denomination stamps, and they end up giving the post office a lot more money than we have to mail a letter, because what's going to happen is you're not going to have a 24-ounce stamp, but you're going to have a ton of 60-ounce or 60-cent stamps, forever stamps. So if you're going to put 2 on there, because you know it's going to need extra postage, you're going to put 2, and that's going to be $1.20 when you could have only spent 84 cents. So you're spending an extra 36 cents to use 2 stamps for a letter that is over an ounce. I hope this is making sense. So it's totally fine to do that. If you want to use 2 forever stamps, when something weighs more than an ounce, you can put 2 forever stamps, but you're overpaying. Okay, so you can go to USPS.com and you can order stamps online, which I do all the time. Or you can go to your post office and ask for the additional ounce stamps and just have a sheet of them on hand so that so you're not wasting money when you're overpaying for your stamps. Okay, so that's how you would determine. Now, if your letter is actually 3 ounces, you're going to need a forever stamp, 60 cents, and you're going to need 2 additional ounce stamps. So that would be a 24 and a 24, so that puts you at 48, which puts you at $1.08 to mail a 3-ounce letter. You could just put 2 stamps on it. Then you're still overpaying. It'd be $1.20 versus $1.08. But if you just take the time to go get some different denomination stamps, I think it will save you guys a lot of money. in the future. And then, oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. There's a Global Forever stamp that's $1.40, and that's how much it costs to send a letter to Canada from the United States. And that covers up to 2 ounces. So if your letter is 1.5 ounces, or in this case it was 1 1/4, and you're sending it to someone in Canada, you can get one Global Forever stamp for $1.40, and that's what it will cost to send your letter to Canada. Just quite a bit more. It's more than double to send it here. Let's see. So I think I covered everything that you would find useful in terms of how to determine what to put postage on. So we talked about if it's square, it's non-machinable. Now, what does it mean to be non-machinable if it's not square? So that means you could have a letter that, oh, this is the other thing I wanted to mention. So this falls into the non-machinable category as well. So let's say, for example, you have a regular envelope. I keep losing what I do. So this is a regular envelope, right? If you decide to get cutesy and decorate the front of your envelope, but you turn it so that it's the up and down way, and you put your address here, this changes the orientation for, I think it makes it non-machinable, because there's a formula that the post office uses, and that basically says you divide the length by the height. So, and if it falls within a category, so in this case, if we take the length, which is 4 1/4, 4.25, and we divide it by the height, which is 5 1/4, or 5 1/2, I should say. No, it's actually 5 3/4, yeah. And we divide it by the height, you have a ratio of 0.739, okay? Because in order to be machinable, that ratio has to fall between 1.3 and 2.5. So this is outside of 1.3 and 2.5, which makes this non-machinable because you turned it up this way instead of mailing it like this. So when you have it up and down, and you put your address, your to address, right here, it becomes a non-machinable letter. The same letter, the same exact letter, same exact contents, if you mail it the way most people do, and you put your to address this way, it's fine. It becomes mailable. But the ratio is divide the length, so this way, by the height, that way. And if it's between 1.3 and 2.5, it's totally fine for postage. If it's less than 1.3 or it's more than 2.5, it's non-machinable. So that's probably way more than you wanted to know about it, but I just thought I would throw that in there because I found it kind of fascinating. So that's that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is non-machinable is the clear bags, because a lot of people think, oh, how fun is that? It's fun. Yeah, it's totally fun. You can, Stampin' Up! Sells these clear medium envelopes. They are non-machinable. They're non-machinable because the post office says if it's in a poly bag, a poly wrapped bag, or enclosed in any plastic material that is not paper, it becomes non-machinable. So your 60-cent letter just became $1. Now you have a 99-cent stamp if you're going to use the clear medium envelopes that you get from Stampin' Up. And sometimes in special occasions, that could be totally fine by you. But if you're really trying to, you know, just be economical about how you ship things, it's gonna cost you $1 to ship it in this versus 60 cents to ship it in this. So your call. Let's talk about catalogs. So some of you might be demonstrators and doing your own catalog shipments. And so I just did a little review. Stampin' Up! Has what they call a mailing sector, where a mailing sector period of time. So what that means is Stampin' Up! Will ship out catalogs for you on behalf of you to your customers that you designate for a flat rate fee. And because of volume and different things, they get to send them cheaper than us as normal citizens get to send them. So just to give you an idea, the rate that Stampin' Up! Charges for a mini catalog to send is, which is this size, is $2.75. So you're going to get charged by Stampin' Up! 2.75 cents for every catalog you want to send to a customer through them, through their mailing sector program. If you send this catalog yourself in just a regular old plain white envelope, it's going to cost you over $4. I think I did it for $4.30, I think. Exactly $4.28. I weighed it, I measured it, put it on, and to ship this catalog myself is $4.28. Or I can have Stampin' Up! Ship it for me for $2.75. The drawback is you don't get to do any customizations to your catalog letter. You know, you don't get to add anything. Stampin' Up! Doesn't allow you to send them a little insert, you know, a welcome letter, whatever. They just send the catalog. That's it. So I personally like to customize all my catalog shipments, and so I pay the price to ship. And when somebody requests catalogs from me, I put both of them together, and that even becomes heavier. It becomes quite heavy and quite expensive. So I tend to want to add a bunch of stuff when I do catalog mailings, and so I ended up just putting them in a flat rate envelope, which costs around $8 to send. So that can be a very expensive part of our business if you're a demonstrator and a new demonstrator and getting into figuring out how to do the catalog thing. I would highly suggest, if you're on a budget, to do the catalog sector mailing program, and then follow that up with your little handmade packet of stuff that you could send for just a couple bucks and something like this. Phew, okay, that was a lot. We talked about the scale, we talked about Canadian shipping, Pirate Ship. That is the program of choice that I use to do all of my shipping. So I use this service. I don't know why it's called Pirate Ship. That's such a weird thing. But oh, the other thing I wanted to say is there's a surcharge not in 40 cents during the holiday period. So for package rates, not letter rates. If you're going to mail a package, it's going to cost you an additional 40 cents between October 2nd and January 22nd. So that's just how they're making their money, I guess, and something you can do about that. But to send a first class package, which this is what I just worked up, is $4.28. That's for the mini catalog. That's how much it would cost me to mail it myself through something like Pirate Ship, or if you went to the post office and had it weighed, it would cost about that much. So but I use Pirate Ship for everything. I do big packages, little packages, flat rate shipping. You can do everything through this, and it's absolutely, the cost to use the Pirate Ship service is absolutely free, which is kind of why I like it. I used to use stamps.com, but that was not free. That was like $16 a month. And I really wasn't getting a whole lot of benefit for the $16, so I switched over to Pirate Ship. But Pirate Ship, go check it out. It's easy to use. I buy shipping labels in bulk from Amazon, where they have this, it's a full sheet cut in half. And so you run it through, it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but you just feed it through a second time if you are only doing one label at a time. And they're adhesive bags, so they're stickers, and they're just super easy to throw on your package. But let's see, am I forgetting anything? Oh, let me show you some stamps I got recently. Let me put you back down to the desk. So these are the non-machinable butterfly stamps. I keep those on hand all the time. And then I go to the stamps.com website or the USPS website all the time just to see what new stamps they have coming out. I have a whole file folder full of stamps that I've collected over time. You know, Oscar de la Renta. I thought those were really fun, pretty. I use these for special occasions. You know, 4th of July, maybe I would have bought those for. These are Christmas. A lot of Christmas in here. But I just keep just a random mix of different stamps because I like to kind of, I don't know, match my stamp to the person I'm sending to. So I saw these and I had to have them. These are happy birthday stamps. So I figured I'd use those a ton. And then these are thank you stamps. So those are going to go on my customer appreciation cards, thank yous. And then Snoopy stamps was not ever, you know, I mean, I love Snoopy. Who doesn't love Snoopy? But some people are like hardcore Snoopy fans. But I just thought this was adorable. So for younger audience letters, I thought it'd be fun to put a Snoopy stamp on. And then this is just one of the new Christmas series stamps that's out. These are all forever stamps, by the way, except for the machinable, non-machinable ones. So these are good forever. They cost 60 cents a piece, and this is the Workshop Elves series. And then there's a couple other ones that weren't readily available yet, but I'll go back and get some more because I'm going to need a handful of these. And then, of course, you can always buy stamps by the roll, too. And those are just the plain U.S. flag stamps. So, yeah, that's my stamp collection. So I hope this was...
I understand.
Oh, my Alexa's trying to talk to me. I hope this was helpful. Hopefully it wasn't too detailed or monotonous for you, but just to recap, you know, those 4 easy questions. Is it square? Is it the right size? Is it the right thickness? And is it the right weight? So those 4 questions, if you answer, you know, less than an ounce, it's, you know, for one postage stamp is less than an ounce, less than a 1/4 inch in thickness, and it has to fall between 6.5 by 11, or 6 1/4 by 11. It has to fall within that size range. So I will have this little template that I made available for anybody who wants it to download, just to have it as a cheat sheet. And yeah, I hope that covers it for you. So that's it for me today. Thanks for hanging out there with me if you're still here. If you found this video useful, if you found this video useful, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'd love for you to do that. And stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks, everybody. Bye.